Looking at a cylinder head for the first time can be overwhelming. So many valves, ports, and how does everything all work together? If you don't understand cylinder heads, you won't understand diesel engines. So that's why today we're breaking down diesel cylinder heads, what they do, how all those parts and ports support combustion, and why they sometimes fail. Some beginners think of the cylinder head as the engine's lid. It's not a lid, it's simply the control center of combustion. On engines like the Cummins ISB 6.7 and other heavy duty platforms, the cylinder head seals compression, directs the airflow, it holds injectors in place, it houses the valves, it channels coolant, and it supports the valve train components. So think about this. At 2000 RPM, each cylinder is going to fire about 1,000 times per minute. That means the cylinder head is containing violent combustion explosions every single second. Well, multiple times per second, and it has to survive that for hundreds of thousands of miles. Not an easy task. Diesel cylinder heads are designed to be thick, heavy, and reinforced. And that's because the diesels rely on compression alone to ignite that fuel and air mixture in the cylinder. No spark plug, just air squeezed until fuel ignites. We're talking compression ratios of 16 to 1, 17 to 1, and sometimes higher than that. Now, that means more clamping force is necessary. There has to be a stronger deck surface, bigger bolts, and heavier valve springs. If a diesel head leaks, it can destroy itself fast. But what's inside a diesel cylinder head? Well, let's have a look, starting with the combustion area. A major role of the head is to seal the upper section of the combustion chamber. A clean, flat head surface is critical, along with a proper head gasket, to seal all that pressure that builds up in the cylinder during combustion. If combustion sealing is compromised, engines can die quickly. Failed head gaskets may result in overheating, white smoke, or power loss. This can occur if some of that combustion pressure leaks out of where it should be and ends up in the cooling system. The sides of the cylinder head are air ports. On the intake side, clean air comes in. On the exhaust side, well, you guessed it, exhaust air goes out. But these ports are not just afterthoughts in design. Ports are designed to control that air movement or swirl. Swirl controls the combustion efficiency, and combustion efficiency controls power and emissions. On heavy duty engines, port design prioritizes durability and torque over high RPM horsepower. We're not working on race cars here, right? We're working on engines designed to pull weight and do hard work all day long. But let's get into valves and seats now. The exhaust valves in particular live a brutal life. They're exposed to extreme heat every cycle. Burnt valves can be caused by tight valve lash, overfueling, or cooling issues. Eventually, this can result in lost compression, since that combustion pressure leaks out and through the exhaust valve or valves. The result of this, the cylinder head has to come off and get repaired or replaced. The cylinder head also has valve guides. They help to ensure that the valves seat and seal correctly by supporting and centering the intake and exhaust valves. Worn guides don't always make their failure known easily, but they transfer heat from the valve to the cooling system, and if they're worn out, it might result in slight blue smoke and oil consumption. Then we have the injector bores. Modern diesel heads hold the injectors directly in the cylinder head, and high pressure common rail fuel systems run somewhere around 25,000 to 35,000 psi. Now that's insane pressure. That's more pressure than a balloon heading into a porcupine convention. If the injector doesn't seal properly, combustion gases escape, carbon builds up, and the injector bore can erode. Proper cleaning and inspection matter, along with making sure the injector sealing rings are properly replaced if injectors ever come out. Forgetting to remove the old one will not work out in your favor. The cylinder head also has coolant passages. One of the most boring but important mechanical items is coolant maintenance. Some coolant over time, if not maintained, can become acidic. This incorrect pH level can lead to corrosion starting in the head. Eventually, a small crack could occur between a valve seat and coolant passage. While white smoke and coolant loss could result, it's all preventable with proper maintenance. And coolant neglect kills heads. With extended life coolant in modern diesel engines, it's still important to follow OEM coolant maintenance guidelines. Now let's talk about head gasket and clamping force. Because even as beginner diesel technicians, you likely already know the importance of torquing bolts properly. This means tightening them according to proper procedure in the correct bolt order and to the correct amount of torque. Cylinder head is one of the most crucial areas to torque properly on the entire engine. Not following the correct procedure will likely cause the head and gasket not to seal properly, resulting in an inevitable fail quickly. So when you torque a cylinder head, you have to follow the sequence, follow the stages, and use calibrated torque wrenches. Some cylinder heads use bolts called torque to yield bolts. This means they're designed to be stretched on purpose, which permanently changes their shape. They hold very well after they've been torqued, but they cannot be reused once they've been taken out. Reusing them will not result in a proper torque, which will likely end up with a failed head gasket. They must be replaced after they have been used once. And since cylinder pressure is trying to lift that head off after every combustion event, clamping force is everything. Now let's talk about cylinder head failures you might see in the real world. We're going to start with cracks between the valves. This is a classic diesel failure, and it happens due to heat and stress over time. A small crack can become a coolant leak. Early detection of this can save the engine, however. A cracked cylinder head is almost always going to have to be replaced, though. You might also run into warped heads. Overheating the engine once, well, it might not destroy it, but overheating repeatedly, that you might find out when you measure the cylinder head for flatness and realize it's out of spec. Always check for flatness with a straight edge, a feeler gauge, and do not trust your eyes. While flatness may vary, it's usually in the 0.002 of an inch or something ballpark. Not nearly enough or big enough to see with your own eyes. Then we also have dropped valve seats. The face of an intake or exhaust valve sits up against the valve seat, which is an insert in the cylinder head itself. Now, if that valve seat drops out of position, this is catastrophic. If a seat drops, the valve stays open, the piston's going to hit it, and it's game over. The bottom of the cylinder head gets smashed, as does the piston and the cylinder wall too. This can occur in an engine with really high mileage or severe overheating. The overheating can warp the valve seats, which changes their shape, allowing them eventually to drop over time. Another cylinder head issue can result from improper machining. Most machine shops understand diesel tolerances, and referencing OEM tolerance specs is going to be obviously your best practice. The surface finish matters, as the gaskets need to seal properly. All these things a good machining shop will understand and be able to take care of for you. So what do great techs need to know rather than just replacing cylinder heads? Well, they need to ask and understand why and what failed. Was it a cooling issue, valve adjustment issue, injector problem? Putting on a new cylinder head with a failed injector is about as useful as the G in lasagna, and that can hurt your reputation. If you're tearing down and inspecting a diesel head, check for flatness, check for cracks between valves, injector bore condition, valve face wear, seat integrity, guide clearance, coolant passage corrosion, and carbon tracking. Inspection is where you build your skill. That said, it's been my experience that cylinder head work is often sent out to shops that specialize in that kind of work. Rebuilt heads are ready to be installed, and getting the engine back on the road quickly may be the most important thing. Weighing the cost of time versus actual dollars may end up being the deciding factor on whether to rebuild or replace the head. So by now, we have learned that the cylinder head is where air meets fuel, that heat becomes pressure, and pressure becomes torque. And if you understand cylinder heads, you understand combustion. And when you understand combustion, your diagnostic skills grow immensely. So please let me know in the comments what type of videos or concepts you'd like me to cover in future videos. But to gain a better understanding of how the torque curve works for diesel engines, watch this video next.